Greetings and welcome to today's session. Today we shall be looking at the scoring guide to this mock paper, Chemistry Paper 1. And this is MEBU Examination Consult, and we shall be doing step-by-step approach of all the items in this paper. In this session, I will be also taking us through the do's and the don'ts, but also looking at the new scoring system and the new things that have been added into the assessment of Chemistry Paper 1. One thing I want to encourage you is to keep pausing so that you keep noting down all the things that you're going to be discussing in this session. I'll be going directly to Section A, Item 1. Section A, Item 1. And as we go through these items, each and every item in Section A and each and every item in Section B, we shall be looking at other areas where these items can come from, like Item 1, and how do we approach each and every item and maximize all the scores. And also looking at some of the do's, some of the don'ts, some of the common errors that learners make when they are responding to these items. Let's look at item number 1. Item number 1 was saying, Karikwan is a student of Katala SS in Mubende district. Last term, when he broke up for holidays, he went back home with a pair of uniform to him by the school. His parents gave him 2 detergents, X and Y. He decided to wash his clothes using detergent X. When using detergent X, some brown spots remained in the cloth. Maswanku, his friend from the same school, used detergent Y to wash his clothes. No spots were seen in his clothes. Let's continue. So we can see in our support material, we have this bar soap, and then we have this in a liquid form. So in simple terms, we can see a kind of detergent here, which is different from this kind of detergent. And you can see that 2 boys, Maswanku and Karikwan, they used different detergents, and the way they worked was also different. Now look at this task. They're saying, as a chemistry learner, explain the categories of products used by Karikwan, are you seeing that? And Maswanku. Which kind of detergent, which kind of product did Karikwan use? Which kind of product did Maswanku use? When we look at our scenario very well here, they say that Karikwan is a student of Katala SS in Mubende district. Last term, when he broke up for holidays, he went back home with a pair of uniform given to him by the school. His parents gave him 2 detergents, X and Y. So he had 2 detergents, X and Y. That is who? The Karikwan. So he decided to wash his clothes using detergent X. And when he washed using detergent X, some brown spots remained in the cloth. So you can see Karikwan used detergent X. And when he used it, spots remained. While Maswanku, his friend from the same school, used detergent Y. But no spots were seen in his clothes. We know very well the kind of detergent that leaves spots when you wash, probably when you have used maybe hard water, but here they have not specified. But you can see one of the detergents leaving brown spots, while the other one is leaving the cloth very clean. So we could see directly that maybe this one they used could be a soapy detergent, while this boy, Maswanko, for him he could have used a soapless detergent. But we said when we are responding, we have to be very specific. Specific according to what they have asked. Look at this item. As a chemistry learner, explain the categories of products used by Karikwan and Ma Swank, which means we have to identify these personalities. Like here, in this response, we said Karikwan used detergent X, which is a soapy detergent. So we can see that here we are being specific. When we say Karikwan, some learners, they normally just come and say product used is soapy detergent and soap-press detergent. We have to be very specific. Who used soapy detergent? Who used soap-press detergent? So we have to be specific here and say Karikwan used detergent X, which is a soapy detergent, and you get the category score. Then Maswanku. This is Maswanku, not Maswanki. Maswanku used detergent Y, which is a soap-press detergent, and you get your scores. So, and as we said in item 1, when you are categorizing, we just look at category only. There's no need of us again explaining what soapy detergent is, what soap-press detergent is. Then we have second task. How, as a chemistry learner, explain how the product works and the challenges associated with the long-term use of the products. The long-term use of the products. So there are two things: how the product work and then the challenges. So it was 2 in 1, where we're looking at the function, how it works, and also looking at the challenges associated with the long-term use of this product. So let's see how do we respond to this. We say that in this case, when we ask how the product works and we are looking at detergents, there they want us to talk about the cleansing action. The cleansing action. So in which means in this case we are going to look at the cleansing action of soapy and soap-press detergent. And I believe by now we know that the cleansing action of soapy and soap-press detergent, they are the same. They are the same. What differs from these two is that one is more effective while the other one is not as effective as the other. And we say that soap-press detergent is the one which is more effective. And why? Is because of its composition in the hydrophilic part or in the polar head. We shall look at that later. So let's look at how it works. So we are saying that both soap and soap-press detergents clean by reducing the surface tension of water and forming micelles that trap dirt and grease. So we are saying it is both the soap and soap-press. So the question is, what helps them to reduce surface tension and form micelles? So now we come to the main point here, where we're saying that each detergent molecule has a hydrophobic tail that dissolves in grease or dirt. So these are key points that I'm scoring. The hydrophobic tail, and you know that for it is dissolves in what? Grease or dirt. And hydrophilic head, this one dissolves in water. Then we continue. When closures are agitated, the hydrophobic tail surround the dirt, forming micelles. They surround the dirt, forming micelles. So we are saying that the hydrophobic tail surround the dirt. So if this is our cloth, let's look at this cloth. This is our dress. Okay. If this is our dress and we have a stain here, this is our our stain. So we're saying that when you dissolve this, when you put this cloth in water and you add in your detergent, maybe bar soap or a soap-pressed detergent, we are saying that it reduces its surface tension and wets it easily. And then we are saying that this detergent, it has the two parts, hydrophobic tail and hydrophilic head. Now, when the clothes are agitated, when you keep on squeezing and shaking this cloth, what happens? The hydrophobic, you recall the structure of this soap, we normally summarize it as that, where this one is the head, which is polar head, and then this is our tail, and this is the one we call the hydrophobic tail. Then this is hydrophilic head. This is dirt loving, while this one is water loving. So we are saying that these hydrophobic tails, they surround the dirt. So when you recall, because there are very many molecules, so they will surround the dirt, they will surround the dirt, they surround the dirt, they surround this dirt. So different molecules, they come and surround the dirt, because for you call this head, for it is dissolves very well in water, and then the tail, for it is dirt loving. So this kind of structure that is formed is the one you call we are calling the what? The micelles. There's that one here, micelles. So it is the one we are calling the micelles, forming the micelles. So they form more of these ones. So where there is that dirt is surrounded by those hydrophobic tails, while the heads remain in water. You can see these heads, for them, they remain protruding towards the water, because for them they are water loving, while the tails are dirt loving. So this, we are saying that this emulsifies the dirt, allowing it to be washed. So you can see when they come and attach to this dirt becomes weak, and then when you keep on scrubbing, you find out that dirt can easily be removed away. So we're saying that the hydrophilic head remains in water, and this emulsifies the dirt, allowing it to be washed away. Of course, when it is washed away, then we remain with our cloth, which is very clean. So that is how our soap works. Or it can be, you can talk about the soap and also the soap press detergent. They all work in the same way. Hope that one is clear. We have another video which is talking about the same, where we used another approach. So we are looking at all these different approaches that you who is watching, you can always choose which one is the best. But as we said, all of them are very correct, so long as you make sure that you don't leave out key points. So the key points have to remain there. So in this case, you'll be done with how it functions. So here on how it functions, you are able to get all your 4 scores. You recall here on the category, you got 2 scores. Now on how it functions, we are giving the 4 scores. Let's look at the challenges. So the challenges we have, let's look at the challenges. This was 2 in 1, where we are looking at the challenges and also we are looking at how it works. So let's look at the challenges. We say that challenges, we give the danger, we explain that, and then we give the mitigation. So let's see. So I'm saying that soap-pressed detergent, you recall we have soap-pressed and soapy. You can choose any of the 2, and we talk about that one. We need only 1 point. So these ones, I'll put them for, this one can be the alternative response. So we are not saying that you have to put all of them at once. No, it is an alternative response which you can give. What you need to do is to make sure that your point is very well explained. So we're saying that soap-based detergents, though effective, they often contain phosphates which cause excessive growth of algae when released into water bodies, leading to water pollution. Okay, and then they are saying also that some can also irritate. This is another point you can give. Instead of bringing about water pollution, you can say causing even irritation to the skin. So all these are putting them for you to get a vast of different responses. So we said you don't give a danger, explain it and leave it there. We have to mitigate. So I'm saying that this can be mitigated by proper disposal. This is the mitigation. So proper disposal of waste. So you can see that now, in this case, the danger, this explanation I've given, and mitigation will earn you the 6 scores, which means each of those key points are giving you 2 scores. So make sure that you don't miss out any score. So don't come here and instead of mentioning which detergent you're talking about, for you can say they often contain. They often. You start from here. Who are those they? Are they goats or what are they? So you have to be very specific. So here I'm very specific, and I said the soap-based detergent, though effective, they often contain these phosphates, which cause excessive growth of algae when released into water bodies, leading to water pollution. And I'm saying this can be mitigated by proper disposal of waste. Then another alternative, another person could talk about maybe soap. Now, we said soap contains chemicals that cause skin burns and hence pain or cancer. Someone else can say it brings about eye redness and pain, hence loss of vision. So this is another point you can give in that area instead of talking about the pain and cancer. So we are saying that all these effects can be prevented by thoroughly washing the affected areas like skin or eyes with fresh, clean water, and you get all your scores. Hope that one is very clear. Just what you need to do is to make sure that if you have any inquiry, you put it in the comment section, so that when I see that comment, I can be able to respond and keep discussing on the same. We want to see how to maximize scores and we get A's. Evaluate the product. So we say that when you are doing the evaluation, in this case we look at the similarities and the differences, and we just need only 1 point. We need only 1 point, but this point we are giving is just here. There are some learners who want to put tables, putting a table, this one, and then the other one you put a difference. No, you can give only in one line, because even space you're given, I don't think it is very big to accommodate all these those words that sometimes we put. So let's look at the first similarity. We are saying that both soap and soap-based detergents clean by lowering surface tension and forming micelles that emulsify dirt. Good. So they are all used as cleaning agents, and so since they do all that, that is the similarity identified, and you get all your 3 scores. Only 1 point, and you get all your 3 scores. Now, when you talk about difference, we just give one difference between the two detergents. And here we are saying that soap-press detergents forms lather with hard water, yes, easily, while soap detergent does not form lather with hard water easily. When you do that, you get all your 3 scores. So that is the difference which has been identified, and you get all your 3 scores, which means at the end we shall have marked our paper out of 18. Hope you have been seeing how we are scoring all the scores, and now you know how we can score and also how you can maximize all your scores in item number 1. We have more items coming up, the pre-MEBU assessment which is coming up, and other facilitations. Let's make sure we prepare ourselves, prepare our minds, ready to keep on learning, and whatever you learn, make sure you also keep on sharing with your friends. For those who have not yet subscribed, and just hit on that subscription button, and don't forget to click on the notification button. That notification button is always there, and when it is clicked on, then every current video, every current tutorial that you have, you'll be the first person to get the notification. So make sure you don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe if you have not yet, and then don't forget to share with your friends. Let's go direct to item number 2. As I said, we shall be going through them very fast so that we are able to complete this paper in the shortest possible time. I'm going to go through this item as I highlight the key areas. So they are saying in item 2, I believe we know very well, in item 2, we are going to first summarize something small. Item 2 is where, if you're looking at the category, we use our CRE. Of course, this example is found in the scenario. It is already in the scenario. So, which means we are giving the category, and then we are giving the reason. So, which topics do we find in item number 2? There are a number of topics, and we have a session where we are summarizing different topics that can come under item 2, different topics that can come under item 1, and the same case with section B. Make sure you have time and you go through those facilitation, and then you'll also be helped out. So let's go through this. We are saying that Capelli is planning to fit iron sheets, doors, and windows in his newly constructed house. So they are fitting what? Iron sheets, doors, windows. Okay? He is still confused of the right material. There is a problem here. He is confused of the right material for doing what? Working on iron sheets, the doors, and the windows. He thinks that the material to be used depends on size and color, when good material depends on quality and properties. He is still confused of the choice to use, and he has approached you for help. Explain. The categories, explain the categories of materials. So here they are putting the word, the categories of materials. The categories of materials that this man Capelli can use. Which categories do we put in this case? What does he want to do? He wants to work on his house. Put iron sheets, that is number 1. Put the good doors, that is number 2. Then we also work on the windows. So the categories, as we said, in this area we categorize and also give a reason. So in this case, how could we have categorized these materials that we need to make iron sheets, materials to make doors, materials to work on windows? Let's look at the first point that we have here. Now, there are different responses that we can have in this question. For example, there are those people who could have given under natural and artificial. We have those who will see that, oh, we need some of the elements like the metals, and clarifies which metal he or she wants and says igi iron metal. Then, so we are saying that we can categorize these materials so long as we give facts. So what you said, we have to be very specific and make sure that actually whatever you're putting is the correct thing. It is accurate. So we have to be very specific and respond to the question that is being asked. So in this case, we are having Capelli, who is planning to fit iron sheets. So what can Capelli do? What can fit iron sheets, doors, and windows? Which kind of materials can we use? Can we use the natural materials? Can we use the natural materials? Can we use artificial materials? Can we use metals? What can we use? So we are going to see a number of responses that we have, and then you can also share yours in the comment section. If it were you, what could you have put, especially in this area of item 2? So let's see. Capelli can use metals. So I started with these metals, and you get a score because you're saying the category, which is the metals. Now, what are we saying when we say that you need to be very specific? You're specific of who is choosing the material is Capelli. Where did you get this name? From the scenario. So you have come to help Capelli to do the best choice. And we are saying that Capelli can use metals because it readily forms positive ions or cations by losing electrons, hence metallic in nature. So the metals, we are saying that is our reason. So we are saying that the reason we are giving a fact or even the definition. So we want to see the fact. Why do you call it a metal? So we want to see the fact or the definition. And which metals are we talking about? We have put some examples of metals like aluminium. We have a metal like iron. We have iron. So we have these two metals which are our examples in this case. So you have Capelli can use metals, and if you give that, you'll get 2 scores for category and 2 scores for the reason, and then you can get all the 4 scores. Then another response, we say that Capelli can use synthetic. So still this is the category. The man-made substances, this is the reason. Obtained by processing natural materials through chemical means. For example, they have given us a glass. Where is this man going to use glass? On windows. We know very well that these days we have even the doors for glass. So you can see that actually Capelli can also use the synthetic materials for the materials which are made by man, and you're saying that an example can be the glass. So we're seeing, looking at different alternatives. We have this, we have this. Now we have also this one. Let's look at it. That Capelli can use natural materials. So natural materials is the category. Substances obtained directly from nature without much modification. This is the reason. Examples, we're having wood for doors, iron for iron sheets, aluminium for doors. So some people are asking, but is iron a natural or artificial? So iron, these metals, most of them are formed in their ovens, but they are already existing and they are found in nature without any modification, most of them. So therefore we can call them the natural materials. I think that in this case we have different learners bring their own ideas here about natural materials. We have here another person calling it the artificial materials. Then we saw another person categorizing it as metals. And you could see that all these, they are giving the category, which is that plus the what? The reason. We are giving the example. Though we are saying that the scores which we are giving, they are majorly coming from this, the category, and also this reason. Because if you give the reason why you are identifying or categorizing that substance as a metal, then which means you know the knowledge about that kind of material. Let's look at part 2. Part 2, it was requiring us to talk about the suitability of the materials. Now, when we talk about suitability of materials, here we are looking at the properties. So when we talk about properties, we are looking at properties that make that material good to perform its work. And we say that in this case, suitability, we need 4 properties plus 1 use. And we said we can put all these 4 properties summarized, and then one of the points having having a use. Or we can have all points which are having a use. But the problem is that space will not be enough. If you start explaining each and every point, then there will be a challenge somewhere. So which materials are we having? We have seen that when we are discussing part A, we had different categories, but I'm not saying that now you start cramming all the categories. Understand. And then when a question comes, you are able to tackle that item in any corner. So when you talk about 4 properties and uses, then you choose that material that you talked about in part A. The material, the product that we are talking about. So what are the properties that make it very good to perform its work? So those are the ones we are looking at. So we say that we give 4 points with a use. So we are saying here that iron is hard and strong. Now this is the specificity. Be specific. Don't just come and say it is malleable. It is ductile. What? So you have to open the statement by telling us that iron is a hard and strong. Is hard and strong. Isn't it a property? Providing security and protection. Are you seeing that? So this is the use. So we need only one use. We need 4 properties plus 1 use. So and we're saying that we can put on each point a property and a use, but of course space will not be enough. So it's better you summarize them and then you have one point which is having the use. It is malleable. That is another point. Then they have explained it very well. It is ductile, which is also explained. Good conductor of heat, which helps in regulating temperature, and then has a shiny surface. So all this, what we are saying, we have to make sure that we maximize these items. If these properties, make sure to know properties. Start from topic 1 of senior 1 up to topic last of senior 4, and then you identify those different materials, how they can be categorized. So those are the ones that we are looking at. Suitability of material, that is iron that I have chosen, and it is part of part A, part of the material that we have been talking about. Then here they're saying advise Capelli on the choice of the material. So this is where we have been having different issues. Advising Capelli on the choice of material. So you find some people are putting again the properties of the first item, like here. So you find that even here you're giving all these properties and you repeat yourself. But now we are just saying that advise Capelli on the choice. We have already seen the what? The properties. The properties are here. But now they want you to advise him on a good choice. So in this case, we can identify one use. So advise Capelli on the choice of the material. So we identify a use. After identifying the use, you also let this person know the danger. The danger, this is the danger of using that kind of material that you have chosen. For example, now we are talking about iron. What are some of the dangers that can bring about? Then you explain that. After explaining that, we say that you should never go after putting a problem and you don't tell us how you can mitigate. So it is only one point, but giving you good scores. Why? We are giving you that danger, we are explaining that danger, we are mitigating, we have given what? A use. So at the end of it all, you're telling this man Capelli that this material can be used for this purpose, but if not handled very well, it can bring about this danger. You tell us how, you explain, and then the mitigation. Hope that one is very clear. If you have a question, please put it in the comment section. So that's how we have been able to summarize, and you can see at the end of it all, we have a very good advice that we are giving to Capelli. So we are saying that the use, we are saying iron materials are malleable and strong, thus can be used for door frames. So that is what the use. Then we are saying that ordinary iron materials can rust. That is the danger, leading to weakening of structure, water leakages through the roof, and shorter lifespan of doors and windows. So you can see that is effect. And then advice or mitigation. Capelli should paint. Are you seeing the advice you're giving him? Should paint the iron materials to cut off. Should paint. That is the mitigation to cut off the oxygen supply and ensure better quality and durability of his report. So you can see that in this case, we have been able to respond very well. We have been able to give advice to this man, Capelle, letting him know the importance of this material. But if we just throw it anywhere, if you throw any iron material, it will rust quickly, and also it will lead to weakening of structure, water leakages through the roof, and shorten lifespan of the doors. But also you could put another point that when it is disposed like on soil, it can hinder the flow of water, and of course, if the flow of water is not good in the soil, we expect even the fertility not to be very good. So it means even the fertility of that soil will be affected. So that is it about section A, and I want us now to go direct to section B. But for those who have not yet subscribed, please hit that subscription button and also click on the notification button so that you always get the latest updates on this channel. And don't forget to share with your friends. Let's go direct to section B. As I said, we shall be looking at all these items very fast, such that we use the smallest possible time to accomplish all the tasks. So in section B part 1, is where a learner is supposed to attempt only one item. But though we need to attempt only one item, for us in our discussion, we shall look at all the 2 items, because we are looking at solutions to all these items. Even section B part 2, we shall look at all the 2 items. So just make sure you keep until the end so that you don't miss out any of this sharing in today's session. Let's go direct to item 3. So in item 3, that is our scenario. They're saying that limestone is one of the materials used in manufacture of cement. To ensure that cement is readily available at a cheaper cost, the managing director of Simba Cement is planning to set up a production plant in Kapchorwa. However, residents have raised its health concern, environmental effect to their variable land to be taken over by the investors. Your school science club is also cautioning how the production process of cement will be carried out. As a result, the club patron has selected you to prepare a message to be presented to the head of science department. So this is an item that is set under section B part 1. And we say that in section B part 1 is where we are looking at industrial processes. So we are looking at the different different errors that learners make, especially when they are dealing with this item of industrial processes. So in industrial process, we say that there are some things that we don't need to leave out under industrial processes. We want to see how do we maximize all the scores. So in industrial processes, we have to make sure we know the raw material. And before you know the raw material, you need to be knowing the what? The product. So when you read very well the scenario, you'll be able to know the product. In this case, here, limestone is the one of material used in manufacture of cement. If you see, to ensure that cement is readily available, so you can see that what we want is manufacture of cement. So our product here we want to manufacture is what? Cement. So if we want to manufacture cement, then we also need to know the raw material. After knowing the raw materials in the production process, we want to see even the vessels identified, the vessels that we're going to be using. Identify the chemical processes that are taking place. Identify the physical processes that are taking place. Talk about the conversion to the desired product. We want to see a step when the desired product is being produced. We want to see purification process, the purification process. Also, we want to see coherence. So the coherence is the logical flow. The logical flow. When you're talking about the production process, are you moving from one step to another step? Or you're moving from first step to the fifth step. From the fifth step, you go back to the second step. So there, you're not coherent. So that is the number one thing that we need to know. And all this, it will give you the 60 scores. Then after that, we also need to look at the side effects of the what? Of the production process. Most of the time, learners give side effects of the product, yet we are supposed to give the side effect of the production process. We shall see in this, the production process of cement. How can we explain that? How can we give the danger of that process, effect, and then the mitigation? Then we can go to the number 3, where we are looking at the social benefits of the production. Still, it is of the production process, not the social benefits of the product. So this side effect will give you the 6 scores, and even this one will give you the 60 scores. You can see the whole of this item is giving you 18 scores. 18 scores. So we want to see how do we get all the 18 scores, especially to this item that came in MEB examination consult. So let's see this. Yeah, so that is the picture. So the task is saying, as a chemistry learner, prepare a brief message that you will deliver during the presentation. So in this case, what are we producing? We are producing cement. So we need to identify the raw materials, and we are saying that the raw materials we have. So this is the raw material. We have sand, raw material. We have clay, which is also the raw material. But you say that you may not separate the raw materials from the process of production. You put these raw materials inside here in the process of production, which is also still very okay. It has no issue. Though even separating them like this, it also has no issue. So you're the one to choose which one is the best for you. But for me, I would prefer you list all the raw materials first. You go to the process of production. So let's look at this process of production. We want to see that all those things that we have been talking about, we see whether we can view them as we talk about this process of production. Feel free to keep on pausing, you note down, and also if you have any inquiry, make sure you put in the comment section so that I can be able to respond immediately when I see your comment. And don't forget to share with your friends so that they can also always benefit from whatever we are discussing. Process of production. The limestone obtained from quarry is mixed with sand and clay in the correct proportions and crushed into fine powder. So here we are just crushing it into fine powder. This is our physical process identified. Then the powder is mixed with water and allowed to flow down in the rotating tank. It is mixed with water, then allowed to flow down in rotating tank. So the rotating tank, we call it the what? The vessel. Where it is strongly heated now. When you are heating at about 1500, here it is a chemical process that we have identified. So it is heated at about 1500 degrees Celsius, and then the limestone decomposes into calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. So that is the chemical process. So we can also have the word equation or the symbolic equation, and you'll be very right. There are some learners who are asking, do you need to write these equations to show that you're a chemist? Why do you leave these equations? Make sure that you put them so that you can maximize all the scores. Then we are having this other step, that calcium oxide, of course, the calcium oxide formed here reacts with sand, forming silicate. There is reaction taking place. There is a chemical process forming silicate, and reacts with aluminium oxide, forming calcium aluminate. So we have the equation there, and then you're saying that the calcium silicate and calcium aluminate form a mixture called clinker. Okay, good. Then the gypsum is added to clinker to modulate the setting, and the lumps are then crushed by machine to obtain fine cement powder. You see, this is the conversion to the desired product. And there, your process of production is done. You get all your 4 scores, and then here on this raw material you get also 2 scores. You can see you'll be having all the 6 scores there. Then we said that during the process of production of cement, it has some side effects, which include, the first side effect is water pollution. How does it come about? The effluent discharge from cement plant can contaminate water bodies, affecting aquatic life. This is the effect. This is the danger. This can be mitigated by the treatment of waste water through the sedimentation and filtration before discharge, or recycling the water with the plant. So you can see it is even having the mitigation. So when give such a point, you get all your 6, only 1. You don't need very many points. So for the case of our discussion, I've continued to give more other points, like global warming. It is a danger. How does it occur? You can say carbon dioxide emissions to the atmosphere can cause global warming. This can be mitigated by recycling. It can be mitigated by recycling of carbon dioxide. So instead of releasing carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, instead it can be recycled. Then you have this point of health effects. Inhalation of air contaminated with cement dust causes respiratory diseases, mitigated by wearing personal protective gears. So that is on the side effects. Let's also see the social benefits of the production process. We don't need to forget this. It is not the social benefits of cement, but the social benefits of the production process of cement. So the first point, we are saying that it is source of employment opportunities, that is benefit, hence improved income, and therefore better standards of living. And then you get all your 6 scores on only 1 point. So make sure that when you're giving a point, choose the point that you know very well. So make sure that your point you're putting is very good and you maximize all the 6 scores also on this part. So you have other points that you came along with, but those ones you can note them down and then you discuss. So long as we have a point which is very well explained, you get all the 6 scores. Let's look at another scenario. That was manufacture of cement. There are those who are asking for different scenarios, but if you look at whatever we are discussing in these different mock bodies, almost each and every mock body has its own scenario. Each and every body has its own industrial process that it has set. So one thing I want is that you keep on utilizing these sessions so that you don't miss out anything that we release. Very soon we shall be having some few tips on how to prepare for UNEB, and I believe they will be of great help to us as teachers and also to us as the learners. Let's look at item 5. Item 5 is saying Body, a local ethanol manufacturer in Namasiga. This is Namasiga. Okay, let me repeat. Body, a local ethanol manufacturer in Namasiga village, Jinja district, has been carrying out this activity for 5 years. Oh, which activity is that? Let's see. Okay. For 5 years after discovering its use in our daily life. Oh, is a local ethanol manufacturer and has been doing it for 5 years. Okay. The Uganda National Bureau of Standards has approached him to assess his local products in order to meet the standards. A local investor, Dr. Houston, from America, later proposed to boost the business of Body by constructing a plant to produce more products. However, some residents of community are not happy that the plant will not be of great use. So what are they talking about? Which product do they want us to talk about to manufacture? So the product they want us to manufacture, the one they want to put in money for, is already here. The local ethanol. And this person has been there for around 5 years. So we can see in that picture they are showing us the process of ethanol, and then they are saying the chemistry club members in your school would like to know how the production process will be carried out. They are seeking for guidance prior to addressing the school assembly. As a chemistry learner, prepare a write-up they will use while addressing the assembly. So let's look at responses here. We are just looking at the manufacture of ethanol. So let's look at manufacture of ethanol. Many learners have been asking about manufacture of ethanol, and we thank God that now it has come in this paper MEB. So let's deal with it and we see how best we could have responded to it. So let's look at raw materials we have. So here I'm saying that sugar-rich crops like sugarcane, maize, or cassava. So we have different major raw materials for ethanol, and we have listed. So, but as a learner, you don't need to put sugar-rich crops such as this. Instead, you can choose among those ones which are already there. So another thing is raw material, water, raw material, and also all these are raw materials. Then process of production. As we said, process of production does not change. You have to be coherent and include all the things that we have talked about in item 3. So in process of production, we are saying that the crushed sugar cane. So for us, we are using sugar cane among these ones. The crushed sugar cane juice or starch solution is collected in the fermentation tank. Is collected, that is just a physical process, in the fermentation tank, that is the vessel. The starch or sucrose is hydrolyzed into glucose by enzymes. It is hydrolyzed to glucose by enzyme. We shall see which enzyme is responsible to that. So hydrolyzed meaning adding some water. Is hydrolyzed into glucose by it is hydrolyzed by some enzyme. So we're going to see which enzyme. So the glucose is then hydrolyzed into glucose by enzyme. So this is the glucose that is formed when the sucrose or starch, this is sucrose, is added to water, and then we form the glucose. So it's saying that the glucose is then fermented under aerobic conditions. It is fermented. So this is a chemical process that is going to take place, because when the process is taking place, they are saying it is under anaerobic condition using yeast, zymase, are you there? In the same tank. Of course, the tank becomes the what? The vessel to produce ethanol. This is the conversion to the desired product. So you can see how here ethanol is being produced, but of course it is not yet purified. So we can continue to this stage. We have an equation and get a score. We are saying that the fermented mixture called wash contains 10 to 15% ethanol and other impurities. So it is not very pure. So what happens? It is pumped into fractional distillation column, which is the vessel, where ethanol is separated from water and other residues, because ethanol boils at 78 degrees Celsius. And when you give all that, you are able to get all your scores. So saying still we have the side effects, and we said we can give only one side effect, which is very well explained and mitigated. So let's look at this. Effluents from fermentation and distillation, such as wastewater and molasses, may pollute nearby rivers and kill aquatic organisms. This can be mitigated by treating effluents before disposal. So we can treat the effluents before disposal. We said all that we'll be able to get 6 scores. Then we have the social benefits. The industrial production of ethanol also provides major social benefits, like it creates employment opportunities to skilled and unskilled labor, which raises income and improve on standards of living. So this is very good point, which is very well explained, and you can be able to get all the 6 scores. So saying that another point, you can say that increased government revenues through taxes, which support better services like schools, roads, and hospitals. So any point you give, so long as you make sure you're talking about the social benefit of the industrial of this industrial production of ethanol, industrial preparation of ethanol or production of ethanol. For those who are still part of us, thank you for being there up to this level. Make sure you don't miss out this part 2. As we wind up with this paper, let's see what is in section B, part 2. There is something that you know about section B, part 2. That section B, part 2 is about the natural resources. It is about natural resources. And we say that these natural resources can be categorized as renewable, and then others are the ones we call the non-renewable natural resources. So what do we do when we meet an item in section B, part 2? Section B, part 2 is one of the areas that I don't expect any learner to get less than 3/4 of the scores. Why? Because all these questions are covered right away from senior 1. And as you keep on modifying from one level to the other, we are seeing that so in this case, let's make sure that that we are considering what we have from senior 1 and up to senior 4. So whatever we have in senior 1, it is repeated in senior 2 and becomes a process. So you keep on emphasizing as you move from one level to another. Now, which natural resources do you know? If you look at the different natural resources we have, air, this is one of the topics in senior 1. Water, a topic in senior 1. Logs, a topic in senior 1. Talk about forests and vegetation. All these are in senior 2. Then you have the fuels. We have the soil. So all these are natural resources. Now the question is, which one is a renewable natural resource? Which one is a non-renewable natural resource? And then you also need to find out the human activity. The human activity that is affecting the environment or that is affecting the natural resource. Let's read very fast this item 5. and we identify the natural resource which is being affected. We also identify the human activity that is affecting the natural resource. I believe there it is very clear, and we can go through it. You can try it out first, and then later, when you look at solutions, you can be able to score yourself. So item 5, they're saying, Hoima City in western Uganda, some oil deposits were discovered by some researchers from Uganda National Research Institute. Most of the residents did not react positively and are unhappy because they are scared for their land to be cheaply taken by the government. The chairperson LC5, who is also a resident of the community, has organized a sensitization workshop to address the matter. The science club of your school has sent you as a representative in the workshop. As a chemistry learner, appreciate the short presentation you will deliver during the workshop when invited. So here we need to find out what is the natural resource that they are talking about. Which human activity is affecting the environment or natural resource? So if you look at this one, Hoima has some oil deposits which were discovered by some researchers. Most of the residents did not react positively and unhappy because they are scared for their land to be cheaply taken by government. So we can see which natural resource, what we have inside the soil is the oil, which they need to do the extraction. So which means that human activity becomes the extraction, and then the natural resource can be the petroleum or crude oil. Okay, so let's look at the response very fast, but I believe we have been able to see that the natural source we're talking about is petroleum, and of course the human activity remains that one. So let's look at this. I'm putting these two paragraphs that those who are noting down, you can be able to note down. You recall in this case, we are looking at the CRE plus CP. CP is the composition. That is the first paragraph. The second paragraph, we say that we talk about the human activity, we talk the danger, we explain it and mitigate. Then paragraph 3, which is the last one, is importance of conserving the natural resource. This is importance of conserving the natural resource. So when we talk about importance of conserving the natural resource, we don't expect someone to come and talk about the importance of the natural resource in a way that it is being destroyed. Like logs. You start saying that logs can be used for building houses. It is a good point, but the problem, it is also affecting now the logs. So the logs, we can explain it by saying maybe they act as tourist attraction who bring in the revenue. I think so. They are it attracts the tourists, which means we're not going to remove it. It's going to be there, but it keeps on giving us some income. So the natural resource we have seen is petroleum or crude oil, and I think it is a non-renewable. Now that is category, because once extracted and used, it cannot. So that is reason. Then they are saying that oil is composed of mainly hydrocarbons such as alkanes, cycloalkanes, and aromatic compounds which consist of carbon and hydrogen plus some amounts of sulfur, nitrogen, oxygen. So we say that when you're giving the composition, at least we have to give 3 points. And you can see here we have the composition 1, composition 2, we have composition 3, 4, and then composition 5. So which means we have all the scores there. We already have the category, which is non-renewable, and also have the reason. Then we go to the second paragraph, where we're looking at the human activity. So we're saying that one activity that natures this resource is the extraction and processing of crude oil. So we're saying that during this process, oil spills may contaminate soil. They can contaminate soil, leading to death. Of aquatic organisms and destruction of farmlands So what are we looking at here? In this area, we are looking at the danger of the human activity, its effect. So here we're looking at the effect it brings about death of aquatic organisms, and this can be mitigated by using modern drilling method, proper waste management, or strict supervision. So in this case, if you have the effect, we have the mitigation, then you're given 4 scores. So you can see the part 1, it has 6 scores. Now this paragraph, it has 4 scores. And then you have the last paragraph, which is talking about the importance. So I'm saying that petroleum is important because it provides fuel such as petrol, diesel, and kerosene, which support transport, cooking, and industrial activities by burning hydrocarbons in oxygen. To release energy daily. So when you look at this point, petroleum, you recall we are saying that when we talk about the importance, we look at the importance of these natural resources, but that importance should not be in line with that material or that resource being affected. So in this case, it is only exceptional, majorly for these fossil. So except on this, the fossil fuels, but all others, they concur with what we have been discussing about. So if your learner gives such a point, provides fuel, and hear the word transport, then release energy for daily use, I think there we are safe. And you can see that the total scores becomes 15. Let's dive into item 6 faster. They are saying that Kasato Hill in Wiyende district has been destroyed with various human activities. Many of the recently existing forests with different tree species are now cut down to burn charcoal. Stone quarrying, to burn charcoal, stone quarrying, and construction is order of the day among the most locals in the village. Recently, some animals have started encroaching people's homes. The few residents that practice agriculture are also worried about their future yields. Then we have the support material, and they're saying that a sensitization workshop is to be organized in district by the local government through NEMA under the theme Green is Life. Task: as a learner, prepare a brief message you deliver upon invitation. So, I'm saying when you go back to our scenario, we have to first identify the natural resource that is being affected. After that, then we can look for the human activity that is affecting it, and then we can now kick start on the responding. So we don't respond to any item before you read through. Even if you know it, make sure to take time to first read through so that you are able to maximize all the score. So in this case, we have human activities, we have charcoal burning, we have stone quarrying, and also some construction. So what natural resource is being affected? When they burn charcoal, what will be happening to our air? Our air will be spoiled. Stone quarrying, locks are the ones that are being affected. So we can now give solution, which means here we have different responses. There are those who will talk about the charcoal, burning of charcoal as human activity, and another person will talk about stone quarrying, that is, and also the construction. So, but each of these activities, there's the way it affects either the natural resource or so we are having all these activities that we are seeing here. They have that particular natural resource that they are affecting. They have that particular natural resource they are affecting, and that's now the one which is going to give us the first paragraph. Let's look at this. When we talk about forests, why are we talking about forests? Forests will be affected when these people are carrying out charcoal burning. Because when you do charcoal burning, we have to cut down the trees. So for me, I've chosen trees. For you can choose any other, and then maybe stone quarry. And then after that, you can share your responses in the comment section so that I'm able to check and also score you to see how far you are. So here we're saying that in responses, forests are renewable. So that is category renewable natural resource because trees can be replanted. That is the reason. Then forests are composed mainly of carbon, oxygen, hydrogen. We have nitrogen, calcium, potassium, magnesium, phosphorus. So you can see we have a number of composition of forest, and we say that when you give all these very well, the composition 3 of more than 3, we have the reason and also the category, which will give you all the 6. Only one line. So that's why I'm saying you have to take time, analyze the scenario very well, so that if you have to take all the scores, you have understood how they are coming about. So the human activity that endangers this resource is deforestation through charcoal burning and stone quarrying. So when trees are cut down in large numbers, soil loses its cover, leading to erosion. Loss of fertility and destruction of animals. This impact can be mitigated by carrying out afforestation and enforcing strict laws through NEMA to regulate tree cutting. So in this case, we have chosen forest, and when we talk about forest, we can't forget about charcoal burning. And when we cut trees for charcoal burning, these trees still are releasing some gases into some fumes into the atmosphere. So here we are looking at a very good point explained, and then this is the effect. Okay, the effect is here, the mitigation is there, and then you are able to get all the 4 scores. Then the importance, here we shall be looking at the importance of conserving forest. So if you come here and you start giving a point like forests or contain trees which are maybe they are used for building, that point becomes long, because you're looking at the importance of conserving. So forests are important because they act as lungs of the environment, releasing oxygen for photosynthesis, which supports life and improves air quality. And you get all the 5 scores. We say this one is out of 15. This is out of 15. So when you get a 6 and you add a 4 and you add a 5, you'll be able to get a what? A 15. Yeah, I want to appreciate you for being part of us up to now. And this has been MEBU Consult. One thing I want to tell you is that you keep enjoying the beauty of chemistry. A number of scoring guides are still coming up, but also in the comment section, let me know which paper would you like us to talk about next and why. Let me see what you're saying, which paper you want us to look at in our next lesson. Have a blessed time. God bless.